Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of The Focus TV. Joined tonight, as always, by Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Terp Jr., and as always, we got a lot to get through tonight. We got some league updates for you guys. 9-4-50 breakdown. Jamal Hayward once again knocking out another installment rather. The 9-4-50 breakdown should be another good demo for you guys tonight. And if you guys been following along on social, which we implore you guys to do each and every week, we have a special guest tonight. So let's go ahead and get started with that. We want to welcome Everett Hammond, USC Upstate's leading scorer, to tonight's show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Thank you for making some time. I know it's not like everybody can get out and do things. Your schedule's too packed at the moment, but we still appreciate you taking some time to hang out with us tonight. I guess I'll kick things off with the very first question. How have you been staying sharp during the pandemic?
I do a lot of conditioning with my dad, so he has me run. I lift in the house certain weights, and then I train with Vince, my weight coach, about 3 times a week, and then I work out with Jamal Hayward about 3 to 4 times a week. And Taj, who's the head coach of New World, he trains me too. So I just find a way to stay in the gym and lift weights and try to stay in shape.
So you've still been getting it in regardless of the restrictions?
Yeah.
All right. Got another question. More on the team side of things. At least, before we get to the team, for you personally, there was an obvious jump for you between your freshman and sophomore year in terms of production. It nearly doubled. Could you identify what changed personally for you or around you that allowed you to take that step between your freshman and sophomore year?
I'd probably say just the hard work that I put in, knowing that I was going to be asked to do a lot, and just my mindset going into that season, like, okay, I paid my dues my freshman year. Now I got to show everybody that I'm a all conference type of player, and then my coach trusting in me every game to really try to lead and allowing me to kind of play my game with no restrictions. So with all that, I think that helped me take the big jump.
All right, Ray, you want to go next for the question?
Yeah. Hey, Everett, how's it going, man?
Going good.
So, you're the leading scorer for the team, but you're also one of the leading rebounders as well. Like, just kind of explain what's behind that tenacity. Like, it's not often we see somebody from a guard position kind of digging in the trenches and leading the team in rebounding.
Yeah, well, to start the season, I was actually low in rebounding, and my dad called me. He was like, "You average like 1 rebound per game." He was like, "What is that? At your size, you should be down there every day in the trenches battling, getting rebounds." So I made it a mindset every game to try to get about 6 to 8 rebounds, and that helped my mindset just going in there just playing physical. Plus, our big man, he needed help rebounding. We can't leave him down there just to rebound all by himself, man. He does a good job rebounding, so I try to help him.
And also, your coach, Dave Dickerson, has got a lengthy resume. Just kind of touch on some things you learned from him and some wisdom he's imparted on you with his experience.
I'd probably say the biggest wisdom that he's given me is just about how you carry yourself. He believes that there's no disconnects in life, so how I carry myself in the classroom, off the court, everything I do in my life, getting the proper training, the proper meals in me, studying for a test, not cramming for it, studying the week ahead. I help prepare me for what you're about to do on the court. So not always coming to practice just to practice, always just staying ahead of the game, which will help you. So I think that's probably the biggest wisdom that he's preached to us.
Cool.
All right, Octavia, you got one?
Yeah. So You talked about your dad a lot already since we just started it. How pivotal, because I feel like kids nowadays, like it's hard to listen to your parents and, try to instill everything that they instill in you. But it seems like you care a lot about what your dad has to say. So how pivotal has he been in the progression of your game?
He's been real pivotal. I mean, he gives me a lot of advice because he was the first person to really put a basketball in my hands, and he was the first person to give me confidence to play basketball. So when he calls me, he's always got something to say. So I try to listen to him because I mean, a lot of times he knows what he's saying. So if I'm not getting enough rebounds, and it's also he watches the game, so he's also giving me extra ears and eyes that I can't see. So it's getting good. We have a good relationship off the court. So I mean, he's helped me. So he's been real pivotal.
Carter, I'm good. I know he got a lot.
All right, Everett. Hey, Everett, what was the biggest adjustment from high school to college, as far as, for the youngsters that's about to, that want to be in a position you are in right now? What was the biggest adjustment from you, making that jump to, college?
The speed, the strength, and just playing hard. Like a guy could be a star player in high school, but you can take plays off and still get your 20 points and not have to worry about a lot of things. But it's not gonna work like that in college. Those dudes, they scout, they play super hard, they play super physical, so everything's not gonna come as easy. So you have to be ready to play every day.
That's crazy. And your freshman year, y'all won 6 games. Y'all improved to 13 wins last season. What is needed from yourself as a leader and to have a winning season and challenge for, the Big South title?
I just got to be consistent as a leader in the weight room. I got to be a leader off the court and on the court. I just got to be consistent in all phases of my game. I mean, we got good players. We got everybody coming back. So I think this is the year that we really should contend for that title, and the goal is definitely to win it.
No doubt. What are your thoughts on the Power 5 conference, considering, playing conference games only next season due to, the COVID pandemic? And for non-Power 5 programs, it makes it harder to eye an NCAA tournament run since, the quality of schedule is a major factor. And if they go to that, just playing conference games, it takes games away from y'all. What are your thoughts on that?
Like you said, it's tough. I mean, for the Power 5, they'll still be okay because, they're Power 5 schools, so they get multiple. But us being in the lower conference, you have to win. So it's already a lot of stress knowing that you can have a great season, beat a Power 5, and then if you don't win your tournament, you may not go. So, I mean, I think it's tough, but with the pandemic, I mean, I think it's also smart. It would definitely lower the risk of COVID spreading. So, I mean, it's a win and a loss at the same time.
And how can y'all, as a smaller school, smaller program, overcome that? Not the COVID, but I'm saying like try to win the conference. Got you. The old school way.
Yeah. Gotta go get it.
For sure. Anybody else?
Yeah, I had one. One of the first things you said when you were talking about your freshman year was you knew you had to pay your dues. If you elaborate on that just a little bit more, because it's something Cardell said something about the old school way just literally a minute or two ago, but that's something where everybody doesn't fully grasp that, and sometimes we see folks transfer at times, maybe because of paying dues wasn't exactly at the forefront of their mind. How did you deal with that, knowing that that was something that it seemed like you had on your mind? That's part of my journey.
Yeah, well, like you said, a lot of people, they're not used to it, not paying your dues. For me, it was just not getting frustrated, knowing it's a process. So I'm not gonna come in right away and just dominate. I know I had to go through, learn the system, learn how college works. And I think everything that I went through, all the adversity I had my freshman year, helped me become a better player for my sophomore year. So now I'm going to take all the adversity I had my sophomore year, and that should help me be a better player for my junior year. So you just got to pay your dues, and it's going to work out. You got to just pay your dues.
All right. Cardell, you had another one?
Yeah, I got about a couple more. Who are some players you watch closely in the NBA to help your game grow?
CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard.
Mhm.
I watch those two probably the most, and Kyrie Irving, because those are guards who they're not super athletic. They don't play above the rim, but they're super skilled. So I try to model my game after somebody who's super skilled because I'm not a super athlete. I don't play above the rim.
Makes total sense. And my last question for you is, last season y'all had 6 freshmen and 6 sophomores on a 13-win team. Y'all will be fairly young, but y'all have a lot of experience because a lot of those guys played last year. What are your expectations for the season with that experience?
I expect us to win the conference. We return everybody, all our top scorers, everybody. We have one freshman coming in. Like you said, we'll have 6 sophomores, and everyone who's sophomore last year will be a junior. So I expect us to win it. There's no reason we shouldn't win it.
All right. Octavia, Raymond, you guys had any more questions?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I had one more. So you had your scoring career high against VMI. I think it was 31 points. Just always like to ask, was it anything going into the game that you felt like it was going to be one of those days, or the game just kind of came to you?
That game kind of came to me. I shot a lot before that game leading up because they like to play a matchup zone. So they're not really in a man. They'll play like it's a man, but it's really a zone. So we coming in the game, we knew that we would get open shots. So I just tried to focus on my jumper, get a lot of reps in before that game, and I just let it come to me.
All right. Well, Everett, want to thank you very much for joining us this evening. You and your family continue to stay safe. We wish you and your team the very best this year. Like you said, you guys got to handle business and to get to the big dance, win the conference. And you know what you have to do. So again, just want to thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And we're going to take a very quick break. When we get back, Cardell attended New World Combine. So as always, got some notes, some folks that stood out. We got the 9-4-50 coming up. Octavia got a couple ideas about some folks that secured the bag in the NFL. Got some NBA, WNBA updates. You're watching the Focus TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, Cardell Dudley was at the New World Combine. So, Cardell, who made your list, sir?
First off, I want to thank Juan for inviting me, New World assistant coach. For those that may not know, New World's a prominent AAU program in the area. They're on the Adidas circuit. You hear about Takeover, on Nike, team that ran on Nike or whatnot. You got Premier on the Under Armour. New World's on the Adidas, and they just had obviously COVID has literally shut down everything. I know y'all see AAU tournaments popping up here and there, but for the most part, a lot of the circuit sessions that was shut down early. So this was a chance for New World to get all their guys under one roof and just play. Go through a combine. It wasn't just games either. They did skill work, position by position, 3-on-3 type stuff, drills, so you get a good glimpse of everything that they have to offer. And they just wanted to show, what they guys got in front of a number of, scouts on hand, and media. And it was one thing you picked up as soon as you walk in the gym is that it was a lot of size, versatility, and athleticism. They have that galore. So if you're a college coach and you're looking for all that guys 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", athletic and do a lot of things, you need to holler at New World. It's a lot of players. But, I'm going to start with a guy I mentioned from the previous week from a pro run, Favorite Air, 6'10", 2022, Bishop McNamara Center. He's probably the top prospect at the combine and in New World's program. Like I said before, the big man is still a bit raw and awkward, but make no mistake, he's a force inside and on both ends. He rebounded great. He blocked and altered shots, ran the floor well. While he's athletic and mobile enough to get the job done, adding more strength will help him finish through contact through multiple defenders. He struggles at times with that. If he has some more strength, which will come, don't be shocked to hear about him having 20 or 20 games regularly next season. Another name that's, made a lot of noise in the area, plays for Huntington Prep, used to play at O'Connell, Brian Freeman. Point guard, 6'1". He's a senior and graduates in 2021. Shifty floor general that loves to push the pace, yet can't execute in the half court and hit jumpers with range. Also loved how he finished consistently through contact inside and got after it defensively. I feel Freeman, will have a monster season at Huntington. The next player is a youngster, class of 2023, Marcel Garland, 6'8", power forward at St. Andrews. He's super talented and one who has the potential to be one of the top players in the country if he continues to work. He's a versatile defender. He's athletic, has a small forward skill set. He's automatic from mid-range and can score inside efficiently, making him an ideal big to run pick-and-roll actions with all over the floor. He's young, so you can see he's still trying to figure out everything he can do. But once he does, I believe it'll get scary. Another big, Jonathan Ismith, 6'8". He's a senior out of National Christian Academy. He's a physical big man that loves to do the dirty work. He knows what he is and focuses on dominating that way. He doesn't complicate things. He's a strong rebounder. He runs the floor like a pit bull was chasing him. He runs like his life depends on it. Basket to basket. The only option he looks for when he's near the basket is to dunk on anyone close to him, teammates included. The one thing I want to see him improve a bit more is with catching the ball. A few times he mishandled lobs and it ended up being a turnover, or when guards looked for him inside, the pass went through his hands out of bounds. Obviously, that's a quick way not to see the ball again, and that's if you're still in the game. So, but other than that, he's a walking double-double. Another big, Jokle Kaniki, 6'7", 2021, going to Olympus Prep, power forward. He's a bruising skill big man, who's lethal in the post. He has some quality individual wins against Uri and Isma. His game kind of reminds me of former Georgetown Hoyer Othello Harrington, undersized, bulky, but with skills to go inside and out at times. Just a player to keep watching grow. The next player up is Warren Muganda, 6'2" guard, graduates in 2022, plays for Calvin Coolidge High School in D.C. He's a strong, athletic, relentless slasher who can step out and score from outside to keep defenders honest. College-ready body already, and he's kind of a man-child of sorts from the guard position. Should make a lot of noise at Coolidge next season and beyond. Another player, Caden Powell's, youngster, 6'8", graduates in 2022. He's from Texas. He attends Midway High School. Highly skilled big. He can score from all three levels. Score with either hand and was fairly athletic. I was impressed by the way he went out on the perimeter with no fear and defended guards on the perimeter willingly. Most bigs are reluctant to do so, but he has a chance to be one of the more complete big men in his class down the line. Next up is Tyrell Ward, 6'6" guard, class of 2022 out of DeMatha. Smooth scoring wing, was one of the top prospects at the combine overall. Incredible length for a 6'6" guard. Man, his length has to be close to a 7-foot wingspan, which helps him to be able to shoot over any defender, finish above the rim, and be a pest defensively. He's real thin, though, and bigger and stronger players did bother him at times. But once he has strength to his frame, the sky's the limit for him. Miles Webb, 6'8", once again in the 2022 class, St. Stephen, St. Agnes, small forward. He was unstoppable scoring off the bounce, man. His handle was crazy to be 6'8". He had one of the better handles in the gym, period, regardless of the position. He was just a matchup nightmare. No one could stay in front of him. He hit defenders with numerous crossovers and moves, scoring a variety of ways. He's an isolation machine. I want to see him put that same energy on the defensive end, though, as well. That's the next step for him to elevate his overall game. And lastly, Chase Williams, 5'9" point guard, the class of 2022, out of St. Mary's Riken point guard. Despite being small, Williams shined in every aspect of the game. You would look for a floor general to shine in. He passed the ball well, made teammates, was defensively on ball, and from help side, scored inside and from outside. He was just complete. Looking forward to watching his growth. A few other names to just keep an eye on: Devin Caesar, 6'1" point guard, St. Stephen, St. Agnes, class of 2022. Elijah Hawkins, 5'9" point guard. He's a senior out of DeMatha. Jaden Mustaf, 6'4" point guard. He's an incoming freshman, graduate 2024. He's the son of a former DeMatha Maryland standout and former Nick and Son forward Gerard Mustaf. Connie Roos, 6'5" shooting guard. He's an incoming freshman at Georgetown Prep. Cam Smith, 6'7" small forward. He's a senior at Loyola Blakesfield. And a star on the rise, Cam Whitmore, 6'6" guard. He's a junior out of Archbishop Spalding.
All right. As always, you guys get over to finestmag.com. Even more information and coverage on things like the New World Combine. All right, so Jamal Hayward, 9-4-50 breakdown this week. He will be showing us different options off retreat, drag, dribble. Again, several different options off retreat, drag, dribble. Stay tuned for the 9-4-50 breakdown, followed by our second break. And when we get back, Octavia is going to talk a little bit about the NFL. Watching the Focus TV.
Today we're going to go over options off of retreat dribble, right hand or left hand. Yeah, today we're going to go over options off of retreat dribble with your right hand and your left hand. Shots, combo moves off of it. So I'm going to start with my right hand, starting at the foul line. So when I retreat here, there's a defender in front of me. So when I'm retreating, beating the balls with my right hand, my left hand is my off hand, and that's my protection. Okay? From here, from here. So my left hand, my protection arm is my right hand. Here, here. Okay? So I can go here, here, into the shot. Here, here, right into the shot. So now I can go right hand drag, next pull up, or left hand drag, There's some options. Now I can get into combo moves. Right hand drag, shot, or left hand drag, shot. Those are three options off the drag dribble that you have. Today we're going to go over options off of retreat dribble, right hand or left hand. Yeah, today we're going to go over options off of retreat dribble with your right hand and your left hand. Shots, combo moves off of it. So I'm going to start with my right hand, starting at the foul line. So when I retreat here, there's a defender in front of me. So when I'm retreating, beating the balls with my right hand, my left hand is my off hand, and that's my protection. Okay? From here, from here. So my left hand, my protection arm is my right hand. Here, here. Okay? So I can go here, here, into the shot. Here, here, right into the shot. So now I can go right hand drag, next pull up, or left hand drag, There's some options. Now I can get into combo moves. Right hand drag, shot, or left hand drag, shot. Those are three options over the drag dribble that you have.
Welcome back to the Focus TV once again. Special thanks to Jamal Hayward handling a 9-4-50 breakdown each and every week. So Octavia, heard about a lot of money being spent in the NFL. What's going on over there? I think you're muted.
My bad. I was trying not to interrupt anybody else. But you're right. It's a lot of stuff going on in the NFL, and a lot of it has to do with people getting a whole lot of money. Adding to the list, because I know we talked about Mahomes last week. Now this week, Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett is finalizing a 5-year, $125 million contract. He is now, once the deal is completely done, he'll be the highest non-quarterback player in NFL as far as money. So, I mean, the deal is worth a total of $144 million over 7 years, but of course, he could opt out earlier after the 5th year. again, I never have any issues with people getting their money. If the team feels as though they can support it, I'm all for it, especially when it's warranted. Myles Garrett is one of the few bright spots that is in Cleveland. So I'm not surprised he got a bag. He's supposed to get a bag. And congratulations to him for getting it. Another player who also reached a new deal, the Chiefs star DT, Chris Jones, reached a 4-year deal worth up to $85 million as well. So money is being handed out, according to the sources. The $80 million contract includes $37 million due at signing, $60 million guaranteed for injury, and $5 million in incentives, making the value of the contract up to $85 million. So again, getting a bag. A lot of people get money, especially with the deadline that happened today. So again, congratulations to him. One player that didn't get any money, well, he got money, but he didn't get the contract that he wanted. Dak Prescott, they weren't able to come to terms before the 4:00 deadline today, so he will be playing on the franchise tag this year. But he's still slated to make a bag. He's expected to make $31.4 million with the franchise tag this year. So he's getting some money. Outside of people getting money, of course, we still have this whole pandemic going on. Recent reports, literally, as we were sitting here, I saw it pop up and I wanted to touch on it really quickly. NFLPA, they are actually seeking opt-out clauses for at-risk players for this year now. So that's one of the latest things that they come to the table on, with certain disagreements with how the NFL is handling this whole pandemic situation. What they're asking for is an opt-out clause for at-risk players to receive a salary, but not bonuses if one decides not to play. An opt-out clause for players with at-risk families to earn an accrued season and benefits if they decide not to play. An opt-out for cause for players who leave the team after reporting. A $250,000 stipend guarantee to all players if they show up to camp and everything is shut down due to COVID-19 concerns. And then that amount would rise to $500,000 if the season was to start, only to then be shut down due to COVID. So these are some of the things that they're taking into account. They're trying to work it out. And if you don't know, the NFL and the NFLPA, they've been going back and forth on a lot of things. One thing that did come out this week as well, as far as them trying to combat it if they were to go ahead and play the season, they came out with a stealth mouth guard, where it is essentially like it looks like a visor, honestly, that would go over the face mask to help prevent spreading the virus. But the issue is that some players aren't really comfortable with wearing them. I know I read JJ Watt was saying that he always wanted to wear a visor, and the one time he finally got it, he said he played maybe like 3 downs, was like, yeah, take this off. This is uncomfortable. So I know the company that they're working with, they are also working with certain players so they can figure out what's comfortable for them. But I personally think it's a good step for them to at least be looking at different options if they are going to try to have the season. And as we all know, that's the goal for them as of now. Other COVID-19 concerns. It's been reported today that Philadelphia city officials have also decided to ban all fans from Eagle games as well as Phillies games in 2020. So if the season does start, if there is a game in Philadelphia, there will not be anybody in the stands. So I'm interested to see if this is something that's going to happen in other cities, if other city officials are going to start doing the same thing, because usually once one person does it, a lot of people look at it and then they start to implement it. So I'm interested to see if that's going to actually happen. Some good news for my team, though. We did re-sign Jason Peters to a 1-year deal this year. Recently, he's been holding out, trying to figure out if he was going to go to another team or not. Obviously, his age, his injury status, it's been difficult for him. So he did opt to sign a 1-year contract. So those are the small things. And then the big thing, of course, here in DC is the Washington Redskins have officially announced that they will retire the Redskin name and logo. They are saying that they will keep the same color scheme as far as the burgundy and gold. There have been a lot of numerous reports and speculations of what they will actually rename the team as. Some of the ones that I've heard, which could be official or not official, just things that I've been seeing around. A lot of people are saying the Washington Warriors, the Washington Red Wolves, Washington Red Tails, Washington, something along the lines of like generals, senators, federals, just because you have the nationals and all of this stuff. They're trying to put everything together as they usually have in the past. So although it's still a process, there are reports that there is a guy who has been hogging all of the trademarks of these names. Apparently he works for the Department of Energy in Virginia, and he has trademarked a lot of these potential names, of course, for a capital gain. But from the things that I've read, technically you're not allowed to trademark a name if you're not actively using it. And some of I gotta look it back up, but 2 of them that he just trademarked it in June, and then he just trademarked another one in July. Another one that he trademarked in 2014, still has not used it. So that might be a reason why we haven't heard an official announcement yet. We just know that they are going to retire it. So still waiting to hear what the official word is going to be. If I had any say in it, I would kind of like, and again, this is a non-biased look because y'all don't really care that much about this, but if I were them, I would probably go more towards the Red Wolves. I just think it would still give them the continuity of the HTTR as far as them still wanting to possibly have things that remind them of their team. They don't want to wipe away everything. I know some Redskins fans probably are still on the same page as that, because that's their big thing. Hail to the Redskins. It's a whole fight song, chant song. So I'm really interested to see what they'll eventually decide to do. Outside of name changes for them, they did also take another blow to their team. Wide receiver Kelvin Harmon also tore his ACL, and he will miss the 2020 season. They are already kind of depleted at wide receiver as it is. They don't have your quote unquote big name wide receiver. McLaurin is the number 1. After him, it's kind of wide open to figure out. So interested to see if they'll eventually try to pick somebody up. But again, this is all if the season actually happens. So there's so much stuff going on in the NFL where a lot of things up in the open. But as we get closer and closer to training camp supposedly opening, hopefully they come out with more information to figure out how they're going to get this all done.
Yeah, and for Washington football fans, my early dark horse or favorite receiver position after Scary Terry is Antonio Golden Gandy. Keep eyes on him.
Yeah.
Very, very talented kid. Somebody who, if they didn't go to Liberty, probably would went to a bigger school. Probably wouldn't have lasted that long in the draft. But you see why he got drafted. Should be fun to see what happens there. Cardell, NBA updates. No, you like myself been sitting in on some team stuff. I know you've been on some of the Wizards availabilities. I've been sitting in on some of the Mystics availabilities. But we'll get started with you on the NBA side of things. But the petty in me, I would be remiss if I do not mention the gate watchers down at the NBA bubble, pointing out who's crossing the line for what.
Yeah.
They are professional snitches. They got it. They professional snitches. They got to do it.
Man, they said that phone line buzzing. Yeah.
Everybody breaking protocols. I didn't know I couldn't leave.
Man, yeah, it's pretty bad, man. And I mean, with the Wizards, it's nothing really new. They just trying to, they just like every other team, they're just trying to adjust. Bottom line to the new surround this new environment, practicing, trying to do what they can to build themselves back up in the best possible shape possible. For when the season starts, it's just that's what it is, and not get this COVID disease, have to be quarantined and be right back at square one. When Brooks came on, Ian Mahimi and Phil, people call him Show for short. They came on when they wrist a little the wristband that they have. Where I was listening to a podcast from Danny Green, and he said that's basically their livelihood, and while they're down there, it gets them in there, it gets them in the building, it gets them in their rooms. it gets them in the restaurants, wherever they need to go. That's what it is, and it monitors them, which is why it's stupid to try to leave the bubble. And he even said, I just can't see how anybody can escape the bubble, man. There's no way. Like, unless you just want to go home and you just stay in the hell with it. There's no way you can leave. Like, they everywhere. Like, they got house here, you stuck. So that's what it is. And you can see them talking about. So anybody saying that they didn't know what was going on or whatever, nah, don't believe that. But that's basically all they're doing. They're just trying to adjust, and they're focusing on their young guys. They're putting emphasis on them, Rui. Getting them ready, man. It wasn't really any more, any real breaking news or whatnot. It's just about getting ready. As far as big news nationally across the league, obviously Lakers point guard Rajon Rondo fractured his thumb. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. They're optimistic that he will return for most, if not all, of the later rounds of the playoffs. The conference finals and the finals if they make it that far. Rondo does have a history of hand injuries, man, so I hope it's not chronic. But, with Avery Bradley sitting out and Rajon Rondo now down, and some guys going to have to step up. I mean, I know LeBron pretty much run point most of the time anyway, but still, it's another blow for them, somebody that played valuable minutes for them. And the NBA released yesterday, they said of the 322 players tested for COVID since arriving on the NBA campus July 7th, 2 have returned confirmed positive tests while in quarantine, and those players never cleared quarantine and have since left the campus to isolate at home or in isolation housing. Since July 1st, during in-market testing, 19 NBA players newly tested positive. These players are staying in their home market and recovering until they are cleared under CDC guidelines and NBA rules for leaving home isolation and joining the campus. Obviously, one of those players was a local guy, Michael Beasley, who had just agreed to a terms with the Nets. He tested for COVID, basically left the bubble, and now his roster spot is in jeopardy moving forward. So they're not playing with this test. They're not playing at all because, as you can see, it's spreading quick, man. It's spreading quick. A lot of players going back and forth between quarantine, and that's why the bubble's there, man, to keep people in and out. Because if they don't have that, it won't be a league. It won't. It's going to be over because everybody's going. If they get it just like that, we'll wake up and see half the league have it. So, keep you posted as we go along, especially with the NBA Outlook shows about to come. We definitely going to be up to par with things as they unfold.
Yeah, like you said, we got an NBA Outlook coming soon. We got WNBA Outlook coming as well. So, Cardell, Ray, myself gonna be a little busy when that stuff comes in a week with preview, daily recaps, then those weekly shows. Octavia over here trying not to laugh, but it's okay. And if the NFL starts, I can't wait because I'm sit back and just be like, we got a bunch of stuff to do. For the WNBA side of things, pretty much same thing with what Cardell said, only with the Mystics. It's not too much to talk about. They're getting used to life in their bubble. The schedule released, the entire league schedule released, I believe yesterday. League action kicks off on July 25th. Mystics started practicing in the last week. They're still going through the getting to know each other phase. We hear that cliche all the time. In sports, every year is different. Each team, people that are there, people that leave teams, what have you. No roster is essential. Even if you have the same roster, no year is exactly the same as the year before. We've heard a lot about folks that are going to be asked to step up, but for the most part, the Mystics staple of the offense being run as a committee, having multiple threats, that's not going to change. The additions of Lonnie Mitchell and Essence Carson are huge. Carson said it's been seamless in terms of fitting with the group, especially off the court. We covered them last year, in prior years too. We know how fun this last year's group was in terms of, how much they got along with each other. And the other thing is opportunity, and that's around the league, no matter what team you're talking about, is all about the multiple opportunities on different rosters for players that, opted out of playing this year, players that can't play because of health reasons. Big opportunity. We saw people that were drafted, waived, and then now because of different circumstances, they're back with the chance to not only, have a roster spot to make a mark in this league. It's almost like a free audition, not only for the team that you're on, but for the 11 other teams as well. We know how tough it is to survive in the WNBA at that. Gonna bring up, obviously a pretty big thing. I think everyone's heard about Elena Delle Donne. We were waiting the past couple weeks for Elena Delle Donne and Tina Charles, at least from the Mystic side of things, for them to get cleared by that independent panel of doctors. And it looks like Elena Delle Donne, multiple reports come out that she wasn't cleared in terms of she wasn't able to opt out of this year. So she has a tough choice in front of her, either play or forfeit her salary. And, I think everyone for the most part knows about her well, public bouts with Lyme disease. So she has a compromised system. And it's interesting the fact that she's not seen as a risk, but that's where, she is with the league. And, we'll see how this plays out over, the next couple of days. That's pretty much it in that regard. I guess Cardell, Octavia, Ray, what did y'all think when y'all heard that news?
I was surprised, man. Like you brought up her, her affliction with Lyme disease like that. I can't understand how she's not considered high risk. Her immune system's already compromised. And it could be a drastic situation should she contract COVID. Yeah, man, I have faith that the WNBA is going to make this right. Like I can't see them, continuing with this. It's just not practical. I feel like other players haven't had any issue, being medically exempt from the season. So I don't understand what the problem is here. I'm not going to assume to know what's going on behind the scenes or the rationale behind the decision, but I can't see a place where the final decision is for her to forfeit her salary or literally put her life at risk. I hope it works out for her. This will be a perfect time for, somebody like Nike to step in and say, hey, if they don't kind of shift things in your favor, we'll go ahead and cover that $200K for you. But yeah, I can only imagine what's going through her mind right now. I know she loves the game, but you can't put that above your health. So yeah, just prayers up to her. Hopefully this situation gets resolved in a practical way.
Octavia?
For me, I feel the same way. Like you said, it's clearly documented the struggle she's had with Lyme disease. So I don't understand the rationale behind it, but as Raymond said as well, I don't pretend to know the reasoning behind it. To me, it's just crazy. One of your top players. I mean, she's the reigning MVP, for goodness sake. To not be able to get her just due, and it's then she has the tough decision to either play and risk her life or not play and don't have any income, because it's not like she could play overseas if she wanted to, with everything going on right now as well. And I definitely think Remy made a great point about this will be the time for Nike to step up and step in and say, if they're not going to, medically release you from being able to play this year and still get your salary, they should be able to pay her. Natasha Cloud opted out of this season as well, but Converse, who she's sponsored by, is paying her salary this year, and she opted out for social justices. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I definitely might be, but I'm pretty sure Nike has more money than Converse. Or
Nike owns them.
Nike owns Converse.
Yeah.
So again, my point is being made. So I don't understand it. I would hope that somebody would step up and do that. I feel terrible that she's put in a situation like this. I hope and pray that it's not business involved, because the only thing I can think of is with so many players opting out, and then here you go, you have a big name player, the reigning MVP, that's going to opt out this season. don't think it's that, because I don't feel like the WNBA has ever had that type of track record. But you never know when it comes to people in billion-dollar businesses when situations like this happen. So I pray that there's some type of appeals that she can go through, especially with the season we just talked about being around the corner, and a decision will need to be made as soon as possible. I hope that she's able to either opt out, get her salary, or somebody, like I said, one of her sponsors step in and help her in this situation, because as we all know, she wants to play. It's not that she doesn't want to play. I could see if it was something like she was opting out for social justices or something else. But although we talk about all of this stuff, and then she has like the Lyme disease, you got to remember she has a sister that's been very, very sick her whole life and has a deficiency and everything. So I'm sure they take health things very, very, very seriously in their family. So I can't imagine why they would do that to her.
Cardell?
I mean, we don't obviously have proof, but I do believe it's business related, man. She's your primetime player, and opening day, man. I don't know if people have been paying attention to all the pro leagues, across sports, especially in the NBA, WNBA. They not playing. They lost a lot of bread, and you see players that. Not just on the WNBA side. If you look at the NBA side, the Oladipo situation, he was like he wanted to sit out because he didn't feel completely healthy. And they was like, look, homie, you healthy enough to come there. I mean, it's up to you. You either can sit out and don't get paid your $3 million, or you can try to work your way back into shape. And guess what? All accounts, he down there practicing. Once they said they're gonna take that bread, I mean, that's just what it is. It sucks, for her, but they coming hard behind the scenes, That's the only thing I can really think of, because if you look at the diagnosis for Lyme disease, it brings pain in the joints and muscles. It brings fatigue, fever. It makes your joints stiff and adds swelling. You get rashes, you get headaches, you get fevers. It basically breaks down your immune system, so it makes it really easy for you to get COVID. And if you have both of them, then what does that mean? You in a world of hurt. So. It don't add up, other than like, nah, play, we need you to come down here. We need you to, at least give it a shot or something. It's nothing new. It's always kind of been like that throughout history, especially when it comes to sports. That's why a lot of old time players you saw, they paid the price, because literally if they did not play, they didn't get paid. And oftentimes in that, it was so ruthless across sports that if they did not play, they would just be out of a job. And then how they gonna provide for their family? And that's what they would hold over their head. I think this whole COVID situation would change things moving forward with contract negotiations forever. I expect to see a lot of players say, if a pandemic or something crazy happens, I still get all of my bread. I don't care what happens. I just could see agents negotiating that. That's something new. It's just, you have to do that now, because now it's crazy, man. And then obviously you got to consider down there in Florida, the cases just going through the roof because people being ignorant, not wearing masks or whatnot. She could catch it before she even get to the bubble. And then what you gonna do? So what you gonna do? Send her home and say, "Hey, man, you didn't report and don't pay her." I mean, like Raymond said, man, Nike. I can see Nike already doing it. Heck, they probably already doing it. So that's why she got a decision to make. But I don't know, man. This message. That's just something I wouldn't expect, especially from the WNBA when you got momentum, man. Why would you want to piss off your MVP? And then people see that and turn people off. That's just not the way. That's not the move, man.
Yeah, and this is one of the things we've seen in the past. Some leagues just don't know how to get out their own way. And this has been a trend with that league a lot, regardless of who's been winning it. And again, we've given kudos to Kathy Engelbert for good reason for the things that she's done. But this is another one of those things where, how it is. Bad news always makes more news than good news, right? It's always heard. It always, it gets to the person who doesn't even care about the topic traditionally, but that'll be the one thing somebody remembers is a negative. All right. Before we get out here, real quick update: MLS is back. Tournament. Sorry, guys. DC United. They played their first game of the tournament Monday morning. They're supposed to play Sunday morning, but it had to be postponed because of an unconfirmed positive test on the DC side and inconclusive test on the Toronto side, just two separate players. So they played Monday morning. Toronto jumped all over DC early. They got out to a 2-0 lead. Both goals scored by Ayo Akinola. Easy goals. The first one was beautiful. Just received the ball. Took his time. DC gave him too much room. Turned, fired, put his team up. Junior Moreno, he received his second yellow card for DC United right before the half, and he was ejected, which meant they had to play the whole second half down a man. But the good thing for DC is they kind of started to wake up slowly but surely, but they really got the necessary jolt of energy in them when they made several substitutions. In the tournament, you're able to make 5 substitutions rather than the 3 during MLS play. So the group of Federico Higuain, Yamil Assad, Kevin Paredes, Chris Aguiatum, those guys came in, gave them the necessary juice. So you want to talk about pulling stuff out at the very last minute. Higuain scored in the 84th minute. Frederick Briand scored in the 91st minute, providing the equalizer. Higuain's goal was beautiful. It's a beautiful chip shot. Showing a lot of class. You can tell that's what a savvy vet brings with you. Doesn't need to do a whole lot of work. Just give them a little space and opportunity. More times than not, they're going to make the most of it. And Briand, as he was talking after the game, he kind of felt like some of that was on him because, he playing center back, shared some of the responsibility for Akinola getting free on at least one of those goals. So, that equalizer kind of let him feel a little bit better, kind of some redemption to the fact that you played a role, felt like you played a role in your team's demise to a standpoint. Again, it was a horrible start for DC United, but, we're going to see a lot of horrible starts for a lot of teams as sports gets going back up. I was impressed with Toronto's start. They looked like, nothing was wrong. So kudos to them. Josie Altidore did not play in that game. But for a fun fact for DC United, they're the first team to have a player sent off while trailing by 2 or more goals and collect a point in an MLS match since at least 2007. So shout out to them. Their next game is July 17th against the Revolution. Obviously, they would look to get off to a much better start because that's just not the type of trend or you want to set. Is getting off horribly slow and things kind of breaking your way very, very late. It's not exactly a good way to live, and no matter what the sport is. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Get over to finestmag.com, mymindosports.com. Definitely follow us right here on the Focus TV on all our social mediums. We'll see you guys next week. We're going to have a lot for you guys. Stay safe. See you then.